Hey, what's going on, my friends? And heck, there might even be some people who aren't my friends watching this. Good day to you as well. Hope you're all doing well. This is your boy, Turgon the Wise, coming at you today with a new video, Lord of the Rings Rise to War, our sixth season, Server 109. Today, we're going to go through and I'm going to just talk a little bit about my thoughts concerning the fifth episode of the new Rings of Power television show on Amazon Prime. And we'll go through and talk a little bit about some current events on Server 109 here. And that's it. That's all we're going to talk about today. So, without further ado, I really enjoyed the latest episode of Rings of Power. I feel like that the television show is the plot is kind of thickening, it's coming together, and it's a lot of fun. And I know there's a lot of criticism about the pace of this of the show being slow. I actually really enjoy that. I mean, not it's probably not the best analogy, but I mean, if you throw a bunch of ingredients in a crock pot for an hour and expect to get a wonderful soup, you're going to be disappointed. You want to let that marinate in there for 4, 5, 6, 10 hours, and then you get this wonderful congealed deliciousness. Maybe it'd be better if I for since most of my audience is likely going to be of the male variety. It's like when you're smoking your ribs, you're not going to stick your ribs in the smoker for 30, 45 minutes. You're going to leave them in there for like 6, 8 hours, 10 hours. Heck, I know some people that put their stuff in there for like 16 hours, and then the meat's just like falling off the bone. It's got all that smoky goodness and deliciousness. That's what I'm getting out of the Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power television show from Amazon. They're taking the time to set up the story or to set up a story right, and I appreciate that because I'm also a very big Star Wars fan, and this was one of the chief criticisms I had of the latest Star Wars movies, episodes 7 through 9, where they just kind of throw a bunch of stuff at you. There's very little character development, there's very little plot development. It's just all kind of just go, go, go. It's very straightforward. The stories were super watered down, and honestly, I was bored to tears throughout all those movies. And for other reasons, the movies just straight up made me mad. Episode 9 kind of was okay. I was happier with that one than the previous two, and I'm just really relieved that the folks that are in charge of Rings of Powers are not doing that. They're setting up a really nice story. They're developing characters. They're giving you Easter eggs all over the place. And sure, they're making some shit up that's not even part of the canon. And you know what? That's to be expected. It's not going to follow Tolkien's canon exactly. It's not supposed to. They weren't given all the rights to do that. Um, and they have taken definitely a lot from the Tolkien legendarium and have applied it. Like I was said in a previous video, in episode 1, you see the two trees of Valinor. They talk through, they give you a lot of the lore of the First Age. It's kind of being sprinkled and interdispersed throughout the course of the show. There's a wonderful scene, I believe, in episode 4 where Elrond is talking to Durin about his father, and recanting some of that lore from the First Age. And I love those little bits that they're putting in there. But I also love kind of the newer stuff that they're putting in there too, where I'm sure Tolkien didn't have Durin essentially stealing a table from Gil-galad because his wife wants a table. Like that's something that's new and fresh and creative, and I think that's cool. Um, So at any rate, I think that the show is really starting to now we're over the halfway mark in the first season. The season's going to have 8 episodes. We just completed 5, so we have 3 episodes left, and I think we're going to be in store. There's going to be some serious action in store for us, possibly starting. this week with episode 6. Um, Things that I know are going to happen because they will follow the canon to a certain extent. We will inevitably see the Rings of Power forged. And I believe in episode 5, we got our first look at Anatar, the Lord of Gifts. He looked super evil and angry, but all clad in white. And he was at the site where the comet that had this stranger fall down, and he was investigating it. And I thought that was interesting, and I'm curious to see where this character goes. Is he going to hang out with the like leader of the orcs, the elfy, orky looking dude with the black hair and the glove on, who could potentially be a son of Feanor that they decided to bring into this whole thing? Just speculating here. It could definitely be because one of the sons of Feanor ended up with a Silmarillion, and it burned his hand, and he could not hold on to it. So he cast it into a chasm, I believe, is the word that was used. Maybe it's a volcano or something like that. And that could be why this guy is wearing a glove like that, because he handled a Silmaril. So is the evil Sauron looking Anatar guy. Is he going to hang out with that dude, or is he on his way to Eregion to go and assist Celebrimbor in the forging of the rings? We'll see. Who knows? But they can certainly take this show a really long way, and I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with it. All right, so let's load up the old game here. Let's talk about current events. Server 109. And I'm going to sum it up for y'all in 2 words, and that is shit show. Our server is a shit show. And if you look at the map, it's not going to appear that way. It's going to be pretty obvious, who has winning slash won the season. And I'm going to talk you through a lot of the elements of how we got here, and I'm going to talk through what's happening now, and I'm going to talk through some things like hmm, honor, keeping your word, morality, being decent human beings. Even in war, there should be a level of civility between foes. Um, we look back at previous wars and you look at things like the Second World War and the Holocaust and committing genocide. And pretty much everyone's in agreement that that is not okay. And I agree with that. I am a person who does not think that people deserve that. And I think even in a game like this, everyone who wants to play and fight should have a place to go and do things that will keep them engaged in the game. And even if that means, you're not going to be focusing on an objective that will take you to a win, at least give people something to do, so that they will continue to spend money on the game. And I think that being inclusive in that regard is what's best for the community, regardless of what server you're on, what faction or kingdom you play in, or what team you're on, or who's leading the team. That's just personally how I look at things. And what's happening here, I play for Gondor, as many of you likely already know. And we have a really good partner in our united faction in Linden, who, as you can see, controls a fairly significant portion of the map here. But you can also see, there's a coalition between Erebor, Variag, and Gundabad, and the entire east side of the map. There's just nothing going on over there. As a matter of fact, there is an entire region up here in Greater Rune that has not been captured. and there are tiles there. Most of the region seems to be farmed, but there's definitely a number of tiles in this region, along with these Variag regions where, I mean, it's basically 1 to 1.5 fellowships really per faction on this server. So if you're going to continue capturing lands and stealing other opponents, I don't want to say stealing, let's say um, taking farm away from your opponents, you're going to have to get rid of tiles that you farmed in your home regions, and I'm seeing a lot of that, at least looking over at Variag areas. So they're fat. They're as fat pretty much as you're going to get, and yet they continue to press us and force us in a little box here in the lower southmost west corner of the map. We are not allowed to go anywhere. We are not allowed to do anything. We are not allowed to fight anyone. We're not allowed to fight Rohan. We're not allowed to fight them. We're just basically forced to surrender and do nothing. And it's not really a pleasurable experience because when you like to play a game 6, 8, 10 hours a day, you want something to do. And when you don't have anything to do, it's just not a good experience. And when you try to diplomatically solve for this problem and you are met with resistance by people who continuously dishonor their word and lie to you, and it's just not a good experience. And so, specifically, I want to make the community aware that the team that is being run by Variag, called Babes, is just absolutely, they have no credibility whatsoever. And I feel absolutely no remorse in gaslighting the hell out of them because continuously all season they have made promises and broken them. We had a nap with them and they preemptively broke it because they thought we were going to break it first. We didn't break it first, they broke it first. Um, that's how they play. We're not allowed, in the beginning of the season, there was an agreement between all the leaders across the server that all the capitals would be returned at the end of the season. And yet here we are. Dol Guldur is open. No one is taking it. It's been open for days. It's completely uncontested. No one is even getting close to it. Do they take it and start the season end countdown? No. They're just sitting on it and continuing to batter us. And now, at this point, there hasn't been an official announcement, but essentially Rohan and Lothlorien have flipped and are now working with Gundabad and Erebor and Arnor and Variag to continue further punishing Gondor and Lindon, and we can't even do anything. We're just sitting here. We have no farm. We have half barracks, maybe, and there's just nothing fun to play for. Can you guys just give us a fucking break and give us something to do? Because we like to play the game and we're attempting to have open and honest negotiations with you to come up with something that we can be allowed to do, but you don't want to give us any of your tiles, you don't want to give us any of your regions, you don't want to give us our capital back, which you promised that you would. So, by all means, you are arguably the worst human beings we have ever encountered in any of our 6 seasons playing this game. And that's saying a lot considering the people that I was forced to play with in season 3, who were god awful people. So, to have eclipsed them in terms of shittiness is really setting the bar low. And so, this video, I know immediately what kind of reaction these people are going to have to this video. Oh, you're crying, blah, blah, blah. You know what? If that's how you want to respond to this, it just only further shows the true colors of who you are as human beings. And it's low. It's really, really low, you know? So that's where we're at this point in the season. The season's over, but it's not over because the teams that are in charge of our server, that have a stranglehold on the server, are unwilling to let it end. They're going to sit here. They're going to milk it for every last ounce that it's worth. And I hope you enjoy it. And I hope you realize that there are consequences to your decisions, and that the community is going to be made aware of your decisions, and that I hope that in future seasons that you will endure every bit of pain and suffering that you are inflicting upon us today. Um, as the saying goes, the pendulum swings both ways. What goes up comes down. What goes around comes around. Karma is a bitch. So if you don't like that, and if you think that you're just going to be able to do whatever you want without consequences, I sincerely hope that the universe proves you wrong. Whether that is sooner or later, I do not care. But that is the situation we're in, folks. This is server 109. It's a dead server at this point. Variags, Erebor, Gundabad, congratulations, Arnor. Job well done. In the beginning of the season, before United Factions were announced, I know for a fact there was a lot of kind of tango. No one really knew who was going to be on whose side. As you can see, Lyndon came down here. We were concerned Lyndon was going to attack us, but then they ended up being our unified faction. There were negotiations with Variag, and Variag people that I've talked to have tried to make it seem as though there was an offer on the table with us and them, and that we declined it. And everything that I have seen and heard from our leaders is completely to the contrary, where we were waiting on them to make a decision on us, and then they decided to attack us. So again, just this Variag team, babes, no integrity, no honor, no credibility whatsoever. If you encounter anyone from this team in future seasons, I highly encourage you not to take them for their word, because they will lie and attempt to do anything they can to undermine you. And if you want to know who these people are, I'll show you. I do not care. So there's their big whale Ezra there, and Rain, Monkey. These are all these people. Take a good look at them. We had the pleasure of playing with Taintsicle last season in season 5. Manflesh. And I have DM'd with these people, and they're not nice people. Some of them come off as being nice people. Mach 69er here is one of their leaders. So keep an eye out for this guy. He is very polite in DMs, but absolutely completely full of shit in every single way. So these are some of their folks that you can see here. Karnos is okay. I haven't had too much of a problem with Karnos. Karnos and I have had some decent conversations. I'm pretty Switzerland with him. But pretty much everyone else, Dread Cthulhu, he's not a nice person. Lil Beaches, also not a nice person. And for any of the people that are on this Variag team that are decent human beings, I'm not sorry, because you continue to associate with them. So guilt by association is a real thing if you study law. And you can see they're just very clearly very, very far ahead of everyone else. And there's a keep getting taken there. Super cool beans. Erebors now come over, and they're probably just looking to dominate the whole bloody map. They just want to take everything from Linden and everything from Gondor. They want to paint the whole map red and blue before they go ahead and just. This Dol Guldur has been open for days, folks. It's been open for days, and they're just farming it for points, for event points. Not doing anything, sitting here. Eventually they'll have their ring battle, and I hope they're having fun. That's it for this video. Have a great day.